Hi everyone, Dr. Beena here. Today's topic of discussion is aqueous humor formation, circulation and the drainage. What is aqueous humor? It is a clear, colorless, watery solution flows from the posterior to anterior chamber and in healthy high flow against the resistance generates 50 millimeter mercury pressure. So it is a clear colorless solution, as colorless watery solution, and it flows from the posterior chamber to the anterior chamber. Physicochemical properties of aqueous humor. Volume of aqueous humor is about 0.31 milliliter and the refractive index of aqueous humor is 1.33 and it is slightly acidic with a pH in the anterior chamber of 7.2. So its pH is 7.2, which is acidic. A normal aqueous production rate is 2 to 2.5 microliters per minute. Aqueous is slightly hyperosmotic to plasma by 3 to 5 milliosmol per liter. So it is slightly hyperosmotic to plasma. Biochemical composition of aqueous humor. Water 99.9%, protein 5 to 16 milligram per 100 ml, amino acids aqueous with plasma concentration varies from 0.08 to 3.14. Non-colloidal constituents concentration of ascorbate, pyruvate, lactate in higher amount while the urea and glucose are much less. So here the concentration of ascorbic acid, pyruvate and lactate is higher amount than the plasma and the urea and glucose are much less. Inulin and steroids also present and prostaglandin also present in this. Now we will pass on to the anatomy of aqueous humor formation and the drainage structures. So primary ocular structure involved are ciliary body, posterior chamber, anterior chamber, angle of anterior chamber and the aqueous outflow. These are the main anatomical parts which helps in the formation and drainage of aqueous humor. So here in this diagram you can see the various parts of this formation of aqueous. So here this is the anterior chamber and then this part is the posterior chamber and in between is the iris and then there are various way and ciliary vein, bilateral venous sinuses and also there is ciliary body which is formed by the ciliary body. Now ciliary body is a seat of aqueous production. It is triangular in shape. Outer side line with the sclera with the suprachoroidal space in between. Inner side of the ciliary body has two parts, anterior pars pliccata, that is finger-like projections called the ciliary process, and the posterior by the pars plana. So the inner side of the ciliary body has two parts, anterior by pars pliccata and posteriorly by pars plana. Then the ciliary muscle. They are non-striated muscles having three parts, that is longitudinal or meridional fibers which helps in the aqueous outflow, circular muscles which helps in the accommodation, and radial or oblique fibers which again helps in the aqueous outflow. So here you can see the ciliary body structures, that is dilator pupillae, the anterior limiting layer and the sphincter pupillae, then the stroma and the anterior epithelial layer and the posterior epithelial layer, and then the internal limiting membrane and the non-pigmented epithelium and the pigmented epithelium, again stroma here in the ciliary body, and the this together 6 layers of ciliary body. This is the 6 layers. Now the ciliary process, this is the structure of the ciliary process, where you can see the 70 to 80 number and 2 millimeter length and 5 millimeter is the 5 millimeter is the width network of capillaries. You can see the network of capillaries, and then the stroma in between, and the inner pigmented layer and the outer non-pigmented layers. It's the angle of anterior chamber formed by iris root, anterior part of the ciliary body, scleral spur, canal of Schlumm and trabecular meshwork and the Schwalbe's line. So the anteriorly Schwalbe line, posteriorly by iris, and it is the main drainage pathway for the aqueous humor, and also known as filtration angle or iridocorneal angle. And the angle is wider in myopic eyes and it is narrow in the hypermetropic eyes. So this angle is wider in myopic eyes and narrow in the hypermetropic eyes. So here you can see the various parts. That is Schwalbe's line and in the trabecular meshwork, scleral spur and ciliary body. Now aqueous humor formation, how it is formed. Aqueous humor is formed from plasma by non-pigmentary ciliary epithelium of the ciliary process of the ciliary body, that is pars pliccata. So it is formed from the non-pigmentary ciliary epithelium of the ciliary body. Aqueous humor is formed in 3 steps, that is ultrafiltration that constitute 20%, active secretion 70% and diffusion 10%. Now we'll pass on to the ultrafiltration, also known as relative dialysis. This process by which the fluid and the solutes crosses through the semi-permeable membrane. So it is a process by which the fluids as well as the solid crosses across the membrane. Capillary blood flow is 150 ml per minute and 4% through the fenestration, and it is favored by the hydrostatic pressure difference between the capillary and the interstitial pressure. This is enough to move the fluid to the stroma, but further it is required that active transport also required for the complete filtration. So the ciliary process, we have already seen that. And now the active transport is done by non-pigmented ciliary epithelium. About 80 to 90% of the total aqueous formation is from the non-pigmentary epithelium. It is an energy-dependent process. Selectively moves the substance against its electrochemical gradient across the basolateral membrane of non-pigmented ciliary epithelium. There are 2 main enzymes which is acting in this active transport, taking part in the active transport, that is sodium potassium ATPase and the carbonic anhydrase. Active transport. As a result of the primary active transport of sodium, the other ions and the molecules are transported over the epithelium by secondary active transport. There is also a passive transport for bicarbonate. To maintain the electroneutrality, anions must accompany the actively secreted sodium. Chloride can passes through the chloride channel in the basolateral membrane. Bicarbonate can enter aqueous humor. The active transport of sodium and other accompanying anions create a high osmolality on the basolateral side of the cell, which causes diffusion of water out of the cell. Then the movement of the water is facilitated by aquaporin. So the movement of water is also facilitated by aquaporin, the subtransporter. Then sodium and chloride must continuously enter the pigmented epithelial cells for the continuous secretion of aqueous humor. This is achieved by sodium hydrogen exchange and the chloride bicarbonate antiport, and by the sodium potassium and chloride co-transporter. So the another enzyme used is we already said, that is carbonic anhydrase is abundantly present in the basolateral membrane of the pigmented epithelium and non-pigmented epithelium. This bicarbonate is essential for the active secretion of the aqueous humor. So in this diagram you can see how the active secretion of various ions, sodium, chloride, etc., and also the action of carbonic anhydrase, which is splitting the carbonic to water and carbon dioxide, and which is diffusion occurs. Now the third method is diffusion. Due to the active transport of the substance from the stromal filtrate into the posterior chamber, there occur an osmotic and the electrical gradient. Therefore, water, chloride, and other small plasma constituents move into the posterior chamber to equalize the osmotic and the electrical gradient by the process of diffusion. So, therefore, water and chloride are the small plasma constituents move into the posterior chamber to equalize the osmotic and the electrochemical gradient. So, this is another this modified equation where we can aqueous humor formation and all. Now we'll pass on to the various factors affecting the aqueous humor formation. Average is 2 to 2.5 microliters per minute. Diurnal variation, that is maximum in the morning hours and minimum at the late night, due to decreased stimulation of ciliary epithelium by catecholamines during sleep. So during sleep, usually the secretion of aqueous humor is less when compared to the early morning, where the secretion is maximum. Age and sex, how it is influencing. It is similar in both males and females and reduces with age. So usually it reduces, secretion reduces with age. Ocular inflammation, hypothermia, systemic acidosis, anesthetics like halothane, barbiturates, and ketamine decreases the formation of aqueous humor. So any ocular inflammation or the hypothermia, it is when the cold temperature, and then systemic acidosis and anesthetic drugs also decreases the secretion of aqueous humor. Then blood flow to the ciliary body. Profound vasoconstriction decreases the formation of aqueous humor. Then sympathetic system stimulation by B2 and the inhibition via alpha 2 receptor. Beta 2 receptor stimulation and the alpha 2 receptor inhibition. Then parasympathetic system decreases via M3 receptors, and the intracellular regulators like cyclic AMP increases the aqueous formation. So cyclic AMP cascade system increases the aqueous stimulation. This is a flow chart how the aqueous humor is outflow occurs, that we have already discussed. Then from the trabecular network and ciliary body, how it is finally formed and it is released. That is trabecular around 90% and the other one is only 10%. Diagram, you can see the routes of aqueous outflow. That is A is trabecular route, B is uveus scleral, and C is the iris. So first one A is the trabecular route and the B is the uveus scleral and the C is the iris route. So in this diagram also you can see the things that is from. Now cellular organization of the trabecular outflow pathway. The trabecular meshwork or trabeculum is a sieve-like structure at the angle of the anterior chamber through which 90% of the aqueous humor leaves the eye. It has three components. The uveal meshwork is the innermost portion consisting of cord-like endothelial cell-covered strands arising from the iris and the ciliary body stroma. The intertrabecular spaces are relatively large and offer little resistance to the passage of aqueous. The corneoscleral meshwork lies external to the uveal meshwork to form the thickest portion of the trabeculum. It is composed of layers of connective tissue strands with overlying endothelial-like cells. It confers a greater resistance to the blood flow than the uveal meshwork. The juxtacrinanuclear or cribriform meshwork is the outer part of the trabeculum and links the corneoscleral meshwork with the endothelium of the inner wall of the canal of Schlemm. It consists of cells embedded in the dense extracellular matrix with narrow intracellular space and offers the major portion of the normal resistance of aqueous outflow. So in this trabecular meshwork, this diagram shows the trabecular meshwork where there is various parts are shown. Vacuolation theory of aqueous transport across the canal of Schlemm. Vacuolation theory of aqueous transport across the inner wall of the canal of Schlemm. One is non-vacuolated stage and the stage of early infolding of basal surface of the endothelial cells. Third is the stage of macrovascular structure formation. Fourth is the stage of vacuolar transcellular channel formation. And 5 is the stage of occlusion of the basal folding. The Schlemm's canal is a circumferential channel within the perilimbal sclera. The inner wall is lined by the irregular spindle-shaped endothelial cells containing infoldings, Jan vacuoles, that are thought to convey the aqueous via the formation of trabecular pores. The outer wall is lined by the smooth flat cells and contains the opening of the collector channels. The collector channels with 25 to 30 intrascleral aqueous vessels, valveless, wide at origin, direct system and indirect system. Episcleral veins drains ultimately to the cavernous sinus via the ciliary and the subophthalmic veins. Now the pharmacological regulation of the aqueous humor outflow, that is important. Increased production, beta-adrenergic, that is agents like epinephrine, salbutamol, isoprenaline, terbutaline, and then the hydrocortisone administration systemically, and intracameral epinephrine. Then the decreased production, carbonic anhydrase inhibitor acetazolamide, then the beta blocker, timolol and betaxolol, and the overbin and alpha-2 agonist, epaclonidine and the brimonidine. Thank you.